What's up, everybody? We're back again. It's your boy, StephenMotivate. Thanks for tuning in. We are getting ready to wrap up our TURO Tips series. So we just have a few more videos. I hope you have checked out all the videos. If not, check the show notes below. You can find the links. You can find the playlist. You can go through all the TURO tips. Like I always say, we want to help part-time entrepreneurs generate full-time revenue. And one way to do that is by having you another stream of income. And TURO is one way to do that, but TURO is not worth doing unless you do it right. So these TURO tips, 52 TURO tips, is meant to help you do TURO right. I am a power host in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I know a little bit about TURO. So let's hop into tip number 36. I think that's a tip we're on right now. And we're going to blast through these. So number 36 is all about keeping your car clean and maintained. And I've talked about this a little bit before. And just maybe a good quick story. So when I first started TURO, I was running myself ragged, trying to clean every car. And, when it's your car, you take it really personal. You want to get every crevice and you want to, get it so clean that it's immaculate. But what I've learned is that you do not have to clean these cars so much that somebody can eat off the floor. That's not necessary. You want to keep them clean. You want to keep them maintained, but you don't want to waste time and be inefficient in your cleaning. You want to get to that minimum acceptable level as it relates to cleaning. Make sure it's clean. Make sure when a guest gets in the car, they're not going to be disgusted by anything, but you do not need to shine the tires and get in between every crevice after every trip. It's just inefficient. It's going to wear you out. You're going to be burned out trying to keep the cars clean to maintain. And TURO really made a big mistake by not really enforcing the cleaning policy like they used to. Things have changed a bit. So now it's even harder to hold guests accountable for making sure the car is clean. So I talked to you about that, I think, in past tips about encouraging your guests to keep the car clean and maintained. One reason you're doing that is because it's difficult now for you to force them to do it. So it's going to be your charisma, your persuasion to be able to get them to help keep that car clean, really emphasizing that car sharing, not car renting that we've been talking about. But my tip to you here is that, yes, keep your car clean and maintained, but do not go overboard. Find a good system that says, all right, I'm going to wipe down the steering wheel. I'm going to sweep out the floor mats. I'm going to wipe down anything that's major, and then I'm going to get out the car. I'm going to be done with it. If it's a rainy day, I wouldn't waste a lot of time trying to, wash the outside. And it's just not important. Really, the inside of that car is what's majorly important. And that's what you really should be focused on. So find your happy medium. If you're starting with 1 or 2 cars, of course, keep them as clean as you can, but don't burn yourself out. Don't get to the point where it's such a burden and you don't have a good, quick way of cleaning those cars that it's really, wearing on you and making you not want to do the business anymore. So it's something that can easily wear you out. So just be cautious of that and still try to meet the goal of keeping the car clean and maintained. But again, just don't burn yourself out in doing so. That's tip number 36. All right, tip number 37 is prompt response time. So guys, we are in the hospitality, customer service business. So yes, it is car sharing and you hope people show you grace and you show people grace, and it's a community and there's supposed to be, it's not all corporate rigidness of, do this or do that, or the customer's always right. But to be honest, your guest is going to want prompt responses. We're just set up in our American consumer minds to think that when the customer demands something, they're supposed to get it. So when a customer reaches out to you trying to figure out where's the car located, what time am I supposed to pick up, where am I supposed to return it to, what type of gas am I supposed to put in it? All these questions that you probably already have answered in detail, that you've already put in your trip messages and your automatic messages. Even though you've already done all of that, some guests will not, they just won't they won't follow those instructions. They won't read the messages that you send them. They won't pay attention to, you know, any of the details in your great descriptions that I told you to create. Some guests will, but you're going to get probably 50% or maybe 20% that won't read anything. And so they're going to call your actual personal phone. And that could come when you're at work. It could come, you know, at a number of times that's inconvenient for you, but you got to respond promptly. So you have to figure out a way to, you know, you don't accept a call while you're in a meeting for your other job, but absolutely send them a text, either encouraging them to go look at the messages and try to answer their question. If it's a location question, all right, we all that information is in your Turo messages. But just for your convenience, here's the address to where your pickup is at. So you want to do things to make it convenient. You're in the convenience business. Prompt responding, being super responsive is key to making a guest feel like you care about their well-being and about their experience. And if you don't do that, you're going to get eaten up in the reviews. Folks are going to, you know, even when it's their fault, even when it's something that they did wrong. That's just the nature of customer service, at least in America. In our American economy, folks have, you know, for so many years tried to differentiate by the customer's always right and this sort of thing. And people truly deeply believe that. Even when they're getting a $90,000 car for $60 a day, they still want you to bend over backwards for them. And, you know, that's the business you're in. So if you didn't know it, now you know. That's the business you're in. You need to do prompt responses. That's tip number 37. Obviously, I'll add, you know, that this can be annoying, but you've got to make sure to respond to your guests professionally. Your hospitality, your courteousness is going to be challenged. And just remember to stay professional, keep a smile, be as nice as you can in responding to folks. That doesn't mean take disrespect. There are times where, you know, I've had to, you know, respond back to people in a way, or even let people know in person that, you know, we're not going to communicate that way. But all in all, just be prepared for it. So brush up on your customer service because it's about to be tested. All right, that's tip number 37. Tip number 38, why are you not getting booked? So the number one reason you're not getting booked on Turo is the prices and the season. The prices and the season. That's the reason your cars are not being booked. There's one more reason. But the top two is the price and the season. The third reason is the settings. The settings in your booking, in your Turo profile for that vehicle could be situated in such a way where you're not showing up when people search. So I'll give you an example. There's a time where we had a car, it wasn't getting booked, trying to figure out what's going on. Well, I had forgot that I had, you know, set the pre-trip or I put the advance notice setting to like 12 hours before. So because of that, I wasn't getting any bookings because most car rental bookings don't happen that far in advance. There are some that do, but most times people book and they want something the same day. I don't know why, but that's just the way it goes with car rentals. Some people are, you know, I'd say 50-50. About 50% of people are in advance planning their rental. But if you think that people are going to be planning 12 hours in advance every time, it's just, you're not going to show up in the searches, basically. So you got your prices, you got the seasonality, and you got the settings. The key thing about the setting is, how am I showing up when people are searching? So pro tip, you know, Power Host tip right here, you've got to go and act as if you are a guest. You've got to go and see how your cars are showing up in the searches. There could be things popping up that you're not aware about. There could be other fees being added. And so you need to understand how you're popping up in the searches, and that can stop you from getting bookings. Back to number 2, the seasonality. The seasonality really just depends on your market. You've got to, if you're in Florida, if you're in California, where folks vacation a lot and there's a lot of tourism, then there's a high probability that you won't see as much seasonality. But if you're in the Northeast, or if you're in the South, like I am, or if you're in the Midwest, your seasonality is going to change. And it just really depends on your market. And you've got to go through a year of it to see where it's going to be. When I started Turo, I was killing it in the summer, making $5,000 a month. It was blowing my mind. Every car was booked. I kept getting cars, more and more cars. But right around late October, things started to slow down. And then November, it was like, is this app still working? It was like, I wasn't getting any bookings. And I was shocked to know how dramatic it was. I thought I was going to get more bookings. Holidays are coming up. People are going to be spending time with their family. It was the exact opposite in my market. So you've got to find out how your market operates, and it's going to take a year for you to know that. Either that, or you can reach out to other power hosts. You can get on Facebook groups, find other power hosts in your area, or other all-star hosts in your area, and they will give you a heads up on, yep, it's going to get slow around this time. Get prepared. And so you save your money in the high season, so when the slow season comes, you can still pay your bills and not have to shut down or pull your hair out. So just be prepared and understand why you're not getting bookings. So number one reason is prices. When you're not getting bookings on Turo, you've got to adjust your prices. Unfortunately, this has caused a lot of, I used to get $125 a day for stuff now that I get maybe $60 or $70 a day. So the market's got oversaturated. It's a lot of people in it. The pandemic is not here anymore. People don't have money just, showing up in their mailbox that they can spend. So your prices will dictate if you're getting booked or not. And you might think, well, yeah, this is $100,000 car. Why would I let it go for that much? Well, it just depends on what business you're in. If you're in the business of trying to share your car and you want to generate income for it, anything beats a blank, right? It could be a $90,000 car, but if people are renting cars for $70 a day, hey, that you gotta go where the customers are at. If you're setting your price at $175 a day, yeah, you may get booked, but you won't be utilized that much. You may get one trip a month. And if that's what you want to do, fine, do that. But if you want to keep these things booked, you just got to be, you have to be aggressive in pricing. It is unfortunate, but it is the number one lever you can pull to get your cars booked is the price lever. Yeah, that's just, from my perspective, that's the honest truth on that. So, moving on, let's see what our next tip is there. Tip number 39. So convenience, as I was talking about before, is key. So in terms of delivery options, should I turn on delivery options? Should I not? This is going to depend on you. If you're just getting started, you probably need to turn on delivery options because you don't have any reviews. No one trusts you yet. No one knows if you're actually going to accept their booking or keep the trip or cancel at the last minute. So when you're getting started, you probably need to turn on all options. I'll deliver it. I'll bring it to your house. I'll bring it to the airport. I'll do it for free, or I'll charge you a small fee, even though I don't recommend doing that for the long term. Charging or not charging. I recommend charging for doing drop-offs, but when you're getting started, you're just trying to get some customers to validate that what you have is what people want. And so any way you can remove any barriers to having a customer transaction, that's what you want to do. There are risks associated with that. That means that maybe you give your car to someone who can't afford and has never driven in a foreign car or a super nice car. So there is a risk that you're running with that. And even getting started, that's where you might want to choose the 60 plan and not the 90. So it really just depends on what your goals are. If you really want to have a business and really get started doing this long term, then you need to have delivery options turned on, at least as you're getting started. And once you get some reviews, once you get things going, once you start to build a little bit of a team, you can decide if that still makes sense for you. Right now, with where we're at, we have like 20 plus cars in this area, and we have turned off all delivery options. It's time consuming. It's going to take, for us, we're about 30 minutes from the airport. So that means every trip is about an hour going there and coming back. and it can literally wipe out your day doing that. So something you should play with, toggle with it. Um, but starting out, I do recommend it, and then later on, it's something you can probably pull back from as you try to manage your day and other people in your locality or around your zip code, or wherever you're at, start to become more and more familiar with your profile. Um, and when you have free delivery and that sort of thing, it will help. The algorithm will push you up in the searches and that sort of thing. That's why you need to be checking how you're showing up in the search. Okay, let's keep going. That was tip number 39. We're blasting through these, I know. Tip number 40. So, have I already talked about communicate? I think I have. So, one thing for a smooth rental experience is you need to be communicating with your guests, not all the time, not overbearing, but you need to be reaching out to them, making sure their trip is going well, making sure there's no issues. And just communicating with them lightly, checking in to make sure that they're 100% satisfied with your service. Uh, that's what you signed up for, whether you realize it or not. If you don't reach out to them, they will end up reaching out to you. So you might as well get ahead of it and communicate with them beforehand, trying to fend off any questions they may have, and offering extra things. Hey, if you're in Charlotte, check out these restaurants. Hey, da 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 da. Check out, these things going on in town or these popular places. Doing things like that is what hospitality is about. It makes that little bit of a difference. And that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to make someone be more interested in sharing your car than anybody else's, because you provided that little bit of difference that was just, made their experience better. And so that's tip number 40 is communicate, and differentiate yourself by doing a little bit extra. Tip number 41, keep track of your car's maintenance. Keep track of your car's maintenance. Yes, I told you to get the body shop guy. Yes, I told you to find the, car mechanic, but you yourself need to know what is going on with my car. How are my tires doing? When's the last time I got an oil change? How are my brakes? When's the last time I got my recommended service? You need to keep a log of what's happening with your vehicle, the maintenance that you need to do and the maintenance that has been done. That way you can look back in your history and say, okay, yes, on this day, I already paid for brakes. So why would I need brakes again? Or on this day, I already had these tires changed. Are they really gone? Or have I lost all the tread that quickly? And so that's probably one of the most difficult parts of being a Turo host, is keeping up on maintaining your vehicle. So if you like vehicles and you're into that sort of thing, it'll probably be a bit easier for you. But if you're not, this can come to bite you in the butt later on. And so this is everything from understanding mileage, and it affects the value of your vehicle, right? So if you're trotting along and running your business and you've got these repairs that need to be made, but you don't know about them, boom, it pops up. I got $1,000 repair, and I wasn't prepared for that. I wasn't, it's basically going to cause me to be at a negative for the month. Well, if you've got your maintenance log, if you got your book of when things have been done, what has been done, why it was done, that will help you manage your business and know what to expect, when to expect it, or who a guest that might have done damage to your vehicle or treated it in a way that did something mechanical that was harmful to it, which can be very tough to do. So also, when you get your cars back, you want to drive them. You want to make sure somebody gets in them is still driving the same. Even though it looks the same, it may not be the same. Once it gets up to 60 miles per hour, it could be, starting to tremble or vibrate. You've got to check all those things. And that is a difficult part of the business, is maintaining your vehicles and keeping up on their maintenance. So that's a tip, is just keep a log, keep receipts, pay attention to what's been repaired on your vehicle. And that way you'll be better prepared to know what you need to do, what you don't need to do, what vehicles are costing you too much, what vehicles aren't costing you so much. So when you replace a vehicle, you'll know which ones to get. It's great information, something you have to do if you're really going to run your business the right way. I would say the this is tip number 42 now we're on. So tip number 42 is the biggest mistake I'd say, or the biggest tip I tell you to watch out for, is that you're not able to collect security deposits. Now, Turo can collect a security deposit, but you're not able to collect one. So it's unfortunate because unless you're doing it privately on your own, then you're just unable to collect a security deposit, and it kind of goes hand in hand with mechanical damage. If there's mechanical damage on your vehicle, that's where you need that guest to be held accountable. Now you can report it. Absolutely, you can report it and you can try to work it out with the guest. Hopefully they admit to it, or you can file a claim if they don't admit to it, and you can take it to a mechanic shop and say, "Hey, these things were not happening before the vehicle went on this trip." But you have to have super good records to be able to prove that, hey, this car went out one way and it came back with all types of issues. You know, it's now leaking coolant, like something that this was not leaking coolant before the trip. Now it's leaking coolant. Like how can you keep track of that? You just, with tip number 41 that I just gave you, and now tip number 42, because you cannot collect security deposits, you need to be very you know very conscious of who's in your vehicle and what happens during their trip, because you can't collect security deposits. And so the other tip, I guess, is tied to this. This is again where you want to kind of choose that protection plan, maybe a 60% versus the 90%. 60% is the lowest protection plan, where Turo keeps 40, you get 60. If you're really scared about this and you don't know, like, you should probably start out with the 60 plan, because since you can't collect a security deposit, if something happens to your car that you can't see, it's going to be very difficult to be able to charge that gas or go after them without some sort of security deposit or some sort of documentation. So since you can't collect security deposits, really think long and hard about what protection plan you want. It depends on the vehicle. If it's a vehicle that's expensive, where a coolant leak could cost you thousands of dollars, then yeah, you may want to be on the 60 plan, and you want to keep good records because you're not able to collect a security deposit on that. Now, if you do it with if you have a private rental setup, which I don't imagine many of you will, since you're just getting started, but if you have that set up, then you are able to collect security deposits from people. But that opens a whole nother set of challenges. So that's it, folks. Those are the Turo tips. We went through several of them today. Look, I hope that helps you as much as it has helped me with my experience through the years doing this. And I want you to stay motivated. Keep going. Check out the rest of these lists. Subscribe, like, comment. Turo is, it's still a thing. People are still generating income off of it. We're in the summer months right now. We're going to be generating, upwards of $20,000+ a month doing this. So you can generate revenue. You can do Turo, but you just need to do it right. And if you need help with that, let us know. We'd be glad to help. All right. Until next time, stay motivated. It's your boy, StephenMotivate. Peace.